They beat him until he make him talk what he no do. I said they torture my brother. As my brother now, you know if you work out upon now, the man no relief my brother. I'm calling upon civil society organization, well meaning individual. If you call upon this man, let him release my brother.
Well, speaking on this, the coordinator of the River State Response Team on Violence Against Women and Children, Tombari Dumka-Kote, said Mr. Bassi was detained by his former boss, whom he named as Mr. Bright Demois, in order to forcefully make him confess to an offense he says he did not commit.
The organization will frown at the sponsor torture of Mr. Success Bassi by Justice Bright Demois of the Customary Court of Appeal, Port Harcourt, with the attitude of some police officers at the Minokoro Police Division who took Mr. Success Bassi hostage and tortured him in an attempt to forcibly extract and make him confess to a crime he has said he did not commit. We are calling on the Commissioner of Police River State, Efiongo, to order the immediate release of the detained man to his family, dated on the 5th of December 2022 on an allegation still under investigation.
Moving on now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has denied reports that its officers are involved in search and stop operations. EFCC spokesperson Wilson Owojare, in an interview on Nigeria Info FM's Morning Crossfire today, was reacting to reports around Port Harcourt that some men put on EFCC-branded jackets to collect people's phones. He urged members of the public to ignore such reports, as those who do not I beg your pardon. He urged members of the public to ignore such reports.
I've heard few reports, especially from that Port Harcourt transit, about some people wearing the EFCC branded jacket and stopping vehicles on the road and asking for people to bring their phone. If you find such things, know that those ones are not from the EFCC because we don't do stop and search. What is really worrisome for us as a commission is the number of young people, especially undergraduates, that are involved in cyber crime. But we don't appreciate the fact that this money that they are spending are actually money that belongs to some people in other countries. So it's important for us to recognize the fact that we have a huge problem and which EFCC is dealing with.
Mr. Owojare also said the focus of the CBN cash withdrawal limit is not on the coming elections. He urged Nigerians to support the policy as it will help the EFCC track movement of funds.
It's a welcome development that CBN has already stated the objective of the exercise, which is to bring most of the currencies that are outside of the financial system back into this. But for us in the EFCC, the duty is to ensure that we are properly able to track the movement of funds. And with the beauty of the policy that the central bank has shown us, mandates us now to conduct our financial dealing through the banking system, either online or physically, and whatever transaction you make is something that can be traced. It's not about election. And all I think Nigerians should do now is to give the central bank the support to ensure that the policy succeeds. We are all very concerned about the value of the naira. It's something that will benefit the economy.
Well, the EFCC spokesman also said it is the responsibility of the Commission to ensure that the movement of illicit funds during 2023 general elections is controlled.
The agency will ensure that illicit funds don't find their way into the electoral process. How we are going to do that, not something I can come on radio to share with Nigerians, but that will be revealing our secrets of how we track our funds. I don't need to disclose that, but I can assure you that wherever those kind of illicit funds are coming in, we would track them, and those who are responsible will definitely be arrested. That's what the Commission is actually charged to tackle.
In another development, the Federal High Court, Abuja, has found Donyi Okukwe guilty of receiving over 200 million naira cash from the former National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, and also sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment. Justice Ijoma Ojukwu, while delivering the judgment today, held that the action of Okukwe violated the Money Laundering Act, where the court sentenced Okukwe, who is the Director General of the P2B campaign organization, to 2 years imprisonment on count 34, with an option of a fine of 500,000 naira. Away from that, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC office at the Eliozu axis of the East-West Road in Port Harcourt, River State, today witnessed a large turnout of people who came to collect their PVCs. Well, those who came out this morning say there is no measure by INEC to control the crowd. One of them, Sarafa Femi, told our correspondent the EFCC needs to employ more. The INEC, I beg your pardon, needs to employ more staff.
Should be enough staff to attend to the people because there's a huge crowd there. At least if the crowd is being split to a number, so at least a short period of time they can at least attend to everybody. So in my own view, that they should maybe employ more staff so at least they can at least attend to many people at a time. So at least everybody can go back to their various work.
Well, as you may know, the collection of permanent voters' cards began on December 12 and will end on January 22nd, 2023. Similarly, INEC has reiterated its ban on smartphones at voting cubicles while participating in the general elections. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, said this today at the Commission's Stakeholders Summit on addressing the influence of money on the 2023 general elections in Abuja. In the meantime, a former resident electoral commissioner, Mike Igini, has refuted reports of alleged preloading of the BVAS machine to alter the 2023 voting exercise. Mr. Igini, who made the comments in the channel's television interview today, described the reports as a strategy by politicians to misinform Nigerians ahead of the elections. He said this has led to buying of PVCs by politicians from vulnerable Nigerians. He also criticized the attitude of politicians towards the innovations introduced by INEC. Still ahead, bandits kill several people in Kaduna, burn down houses. Stay tuned.
Kalabari and beyond. Get ready. It's going to be fun like never.
The SDP governorship candidate in Rivers State, Senator Magnus Abe, has promised students in tertiary institutions in the state that he will set up a Directorate of Student Affairs where all matters concerning students would be handled. Senator Abe, who was represented by Professor Ada Adieli, disclosed this at a one-day sensitization program and Progressive Students Network inauguration of Rivers State College of Health Science and Management Technology.
And a wrong demand. When we do that, we shall still be operating on the old order of getting students to the position of S. No, students occupy major position because they will be among the top priority of government under Magnus Abe. And therefore, he asked compared to that, he will be setting up what he called Directorate of Student Affairs that will be domiciled directly in Governor. So it will be a directorate where all matters concerning students will be directly dealt with under the governor's. So by this arrangement, you have directly the governor himself. You have directly, you not pass through the commissioner of education, not pass commissioner for youth, directly pass through the students to assess the government. And all your requests are genuine will be addressed.
Well, Professor Adiele, who is also a lecturer at the Ignatius Ajuru University of Port Harcourt, said their involvement in the program is a stepping stone into the political field, which he says would prepare them for the future.
So your presence here, the Papyrus Group, is preparing you to become the governor that will come after man. It's preparing you to become the president that will come after. Preparing you to become House of Assembly members, senators, and what have you, commissioners and all that, and all that. So your involvement here also a stepping stone into the political field to prepare you. So his message is that go get your PVC dusted. Use your PVC well during the election. So his mandate to you now is each of you go back and get 10 persons. Each of the 10 persons you get, mandate them to go back. That is the task he has assigned.
Meanwhile, the President General of Progressive Students Network, PSN, Endwell Otonna, said their major concern is to educate the students on the need to support a candidate who will protect the interest of the students.
Is one who is most qualified, permit me to use that term, to be the next governor of Rivers State. Because if Senator Magun Sungei Abe becomes the next governor of Rivers State, the interest of Rivers State students will be well protected, owing to the fact that he is a man that has done so much for the student community. His support, his help, the scholarship program that he has run for the students of Rivers State. And so on that very note, we are very confident that for all that he has done for the student community, if he is elected into office as the next governor of Rivers State, he will do more.
Our correspondent reports that the keynote speaker, Professor Patrick Wiyowogi, spoke on the theme Electoral Enlightenment, a panacea for good governance. Away from that now, about 37 people have been reportedly killed by bandits during fresh attacks in Kaura local government area of Kaduna State. The attacks took place separately on Sunday night at two communities in the local government area. Although the police authorities are yet to confirm the incident, the Speaker of Kaura Local Government Legislative Council, Atuk Stephen, told newsmen that bandits burnt down over 100 houses and destroyed many vehicles and motorcycles during the attack. In business, a report on selected food prices by the National Bureau of Statistics has shown that Abuja and Abia State led a number of other southern states. Food prices soared to record levels in 2022. The reports show that food prices rose to the highest in FCT, Abia, Ebonyi, Rivers, and Edo states in 2022. Well, further analysis showed that the southeastern region recorded the highest food prices in the country.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
5 people have died after a gunman opened fire at a block of flats in Toronto, Canada. Police responded to reports of the shooting at the building on Sunday, shooting the suspect dead there. Another injured person has been taken to a hospital in a serious condition. Authorities are investigating the motive, including a possible gunman and the victims. And that was the news, but before we go, another look at the major highlights. On the news this evening, you heard that a woman is seeking justice over the alleged torture of her husband by the police in Rivers State. INEC has reiterated its ban on smartphones at voting cubicles. A federal high court has convicted Donyi Okukwe for money laundering. On the foreign scene, 5 people have died after a gunman opened fire at a block of flats in Toronto, Canada. The news was edited by Martha Okere. Cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this evening. Collect your PVC and vote. Your vote is your voice. I'm Constance Mega. Thank you for listening. Good evening.